everyone, and welcome back to another video. Recently the admins released this zone, and with it, the reforge's suggestion update. And so I'm going to be talking about it and how it should get changed. And the main problems can be boiled down to three. First is that the builds that the admins are giving us are not good for making builds that people are going to want to change. We'll talk about that more later. Secondarily, switching between builds is very taxing, and so people aren't really going to be doing that. And thirdly, which is more of a minor problem, but to do with the admin's credibility, is that if they say they're going to do something, and then they do the complete opposite, they're losing their credibility. I'm going to start by talking about the admins losing credibility, as it's sort of the least problem of all of them. So, what I'm talking about is they said they didn't want reforges to do with RNG, and yet there's the blacksmith. They said that we're still going to be able to roll for reforges the old way, which was the big RNG way, so that's kind of against what they're saying. And also, with the applying stones to reforge to the items to apply reforges, from what we can tell, all of those that were given to us so far are RNG drops from dragons. I have no doubt that they're going to add more, but still, saying you're removing the RNG factor and then making it so that the only things we know about the update are RNG things, I wouldn't upvote that. Another minor problem I forgot in the intro was the whole universal reforges thing. Because as you know, if you have read the forum post, that all these universal reforges, like godly on armor and stuff like that, are only going to be available on talismans. But if you have a piece of armor with godly on it, it's not going to get removed, which means that legacy items that were made before the update and reforged will still have godly, which is a very good reforge, and new players aren't going to be able to get that, which makes an even bigger skill gap, which is a very big problem on Hypixel Skyblock. And the rich will get richer because they'll have their superior sets with godly, and they're going to be able to sell them for much more, for the simple reason that you cannot get godly on your armor anymore. So what I suggest is that you get rid of the godly reforges on armor or anything that doesn't fit. So any reforge that is no longer available on an armor or item should no longer be available on that item at all, and will automatically get switched, which means that people will have the option between being able to sort of keep these as artifacts. It's like, if I wanted to put my superior chestplate on a wall, then I wouldn't be able to touch it ever again, because it would have the word godly on it, and I would lose it if I moved. So people would be able to make artifacts like this, like the old legacy items that are useless, but are cool, and you can't really move them. These legacy items are useful, and can be transported around, but still are completely unobtainable nowadays. So that's a really big problem with their universal reforge changing. One of the problems we are sure of is the fact that basically they want us to make builds and stuff. Well, the problem is that even with the new system, switching between reforges is still going to be very expensive, since you need to get the stone, you need to spend millions on applying it, and conclusion is someone's going to decide, okay, this is fine, and it's going to stick with it, and then he's never going to change, which means that only really rich people who have millions to spend on switching between different builds can test and find out what will work. And you see with that is something pretty simple, that my idea is, if an item has had a reforge on it before, at any point in time at the blacksmith you can revert to it free of charge. No fee, none whatsoever. That way you can unlock all the reforges on an item and quickly swap between them freely, and that way people will really be able to experiment, and they might actually put more effort into unlocking all of them, because hey, what's cooler than having all the reforges on your item unlocked than just, hey look, my sword is spicy. And now the problem is how to show it. On your weapon, I don't think there should be a section in the lore that just shows every single reforge you have, because if there's a lot of reforges, that could take up a lot of space and make things unenjoyable. So I'm thinking there could be either an option that you get to choose if you want it to be shown or not, or just as a rule of thumb, usually it doesn't show, but in the trade menu and on the auction house, it shows. My final problem is with the builds. I mean, again, like the last one was about switching builds, but this problem is more with the builds themselves. Currently in the system and in the system they're offering, the only good reforges are the damage ones. Currently, from what we can see, it's just a nerf, reforge nerf, not a revamp. Revamp usually means it's better. Here you're just making it worse. And like a developer like Not Melon is just gonna code a new talisman optimizer. Everyone is gonna get back to their crit chance of 80 or 100 or whatever they want, and people will just have lost damage overall. What you want is to make people want to switch reforges, which means that you want other reforges that are good enough to be worth losing a bit of money there. But what I mean is that currently in the new system, you're going to have like strong, which gives you extra damage, and wise, which gives you extra health, intelligence, and that's it. Titanic doesn't give much of anything, and so no one wants it, because defense is an overrated stat. Because, I mean, would you rather be able to take one more hit from a crypt goal, or would you rather be able to kill a revenant like 5 hits faster? That's not really a question. It's a rhetorical question. No one is going to choose the first option unless they're forced to, which is why you need to make the damage reforge weak enough and every single other class reforge very strong, so that people, so that new players see, okay, I need to be able to one-shot my zealot or do a certain amount of damage. For that, I'll get these damage ones. But a rich person could think, oh, well, I can already do all that damage. Hey, why don't I drop 1,000 damage to zealots, which I don't need, and in exchange, I go much faster. And that's a trade-off that's worth it, but not in the current system or the offered system, which is why I made a list of all the reforges that we should have to make it so that switching between classes is incentivized by the reason I just gave. Alright, so I've written down all of my suggestions in these different chests, and I'm going to go through all of them and why I chose them, and yeah. So we're going to go with armor because it's sort of a more passive thing, but there aren't many slots for it. I feel like it's one of the items that you really have to think the most about what you're going to do, because it should be the strongest in terms of what the reforges do. So I have 6 of them here. Strong. Now they're actually made a bit too strong, so, and also all these numbers are for legendary. My suggestions, I'd recommend maybe making it like 5 strength, 3 crit chance, and like 4 crit damage, but make strong weak. That way people feel like incentivized to go for something else. I mean, I already explained why damage reforges shouldn't be as good. Next, you have wise. I've just made it much better than currently, since people kind of dropped the mana set. So I feel like making the wise dragon armor a bit better again would do a great deal. Next, Titanic. You can see it's very powerful because no one wants to be able to survive. Wait, am I even recording? Oh, I was. Next, we have swords. Here I only had 3, but admins, please, if you have another idea, please put it in. I'm offering sharp, so it gives a fair amount of strength, crit chance, and damage. Lucky, which gives you magic find and looting. That way, between the two, you have a choice between getting much more loot or much more damage. And finally, magical, which again boosts that. Bows are something that are have relatively low options, and I think the admins did a pretty good job with their new bow reforges, with various reforges combining crit damage and crit chance to sort of complement what the rest of your build is. But I'm still going to be suggesting others. You can always have a crit chance and crit damage ones, but you'd have powerful, gives a lot of strength and crit damage. Piercing, which gives less strength and crit damage, but a lot more crit chance. And Dragon Bane, which gives you less damage, but a lot more dragon damage. And now I'm not sure what these numbers would do, since I wrote them pretty quickly. But if the Dragon Slayer could be increased so that the Dragonbane reforge would do a lot more damage to dragons than powerful. Yeah. Fishing rods are probably the most underappreciated one because you have, I believe, 2 reforges that help with actually fishing. The rest is just damage or just copy pasted from sword reforges. So Rapid increases fishing speed by 25%, Blessed increases loot chance by 25%, and Seaborn, which increases sea creature chance by 15%. That way you keep your fishing rod, but you get to choose one of these things that is better. Something that people don't really think about is orbs, because orbs could be pretty interesting for reforges. Like, have a strong reforge that gives extra strength to people around, and a healthy reforge that increases healing rate, and finally magnetic, which increases the range. That way you have your orb, okay, cool, but which of these extra perks do you want? You could even make it a percentage rate, so like it increases current stats by an extra something, but yeah, you can sort of balance that. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video and agree with my points, make sure to share this, because if an admin sees it, it might help us get a good reforge update. Anyways, sorry for not uploading in like a month. See ya.